am Henry Lundquist, and I am 12 years old.
I am Dr. Renee Horton, and I'm really excited about our interview today. Well, do you have some things you want to talk about, or would you like me to start?
You can start.
Oh, you're a little shy on me, but that's okay. Okay, so I'm going to start with, I absolutely love your shirt. Being a NASA engineer, it's always exciting to see others to see other people as excited as I am about NASA. And so to see you excited about NASA means that you can be part of the future. So I'm considered what they call late stage hearing impaired. And so I don't know sign language. How do you feel about that? Like, I heard you were learning sign language. So how do you actually feel about that?
It doesn't really matter.
You don't think so?
Yeah, I went to a camp and some kids didn't know it, and so I kind of helped them and stuff.
Okay, cool. So do you read lips? Because I read lips. I've been reading lips since elementary school. Okay.
Yeah, I read lips.
So are you frustrated with the mask? And everybody having to be in a mask. It's like totally bothering me and bugging me out. Here at my job, we had to do what we call accommodations for me to go back to work with everybody else. And they had to purchase me a mask with like a see-through piece in it so that I could read lips. But my friends are like weird, and my colleagues are all like, I want a mask. And I'm like, they're for people that I work with and then I have to communicate with. But the mask is pretty cool because it has that see-through part in it. So I actually get to see people's lips and be able to read when we go back to work. And then they also bought me this really cool Ubi Duo system. And with this Ubi Duo system, it's like a really big machine that people can type on, and it pops up like on the screen, the words. So if you're sitting across the room up to 300 feet, you can be typing and ask me something and I can type it back. So it's really cool.
Yeah, that's really cool.
So what do you think is like the best thing about being hearing impaired? Do you think something is like really cool about it? Do you like that part of it, or?
I think they can kind of like have something that a lot of people don't have. Like hearing aids.
Yeah, I can feel that. My hearing aids before were red, like bright red, and then they changed them, and I have a pair of silver ones now, so I'm a little frustrated.
Yeah, I
go ahead.
Kind of the color of my hair here, and now I got blue and yellow ones.
Oh, I like those. I wanted mine to be more color. Mine are out today, so I'm really focusing on lip reading and captions. I flew yesterday. The day before yesterday, I flew on Monday, and my ears hurt. They still hurt very much. But these are my new ones, and they're kind of silver.
Oh.
So I like them, but I don't like them. Like the other ones were really bright red, and you saw them. So if I dropped them, they were really easy to find on the ground. These are a little bit harder. They kind of blend into the carpet. And
my old ones, I like them, but I just didn't really like the color.
Ah, okay. So you know that I'm an engineer for NASA. What do you want to do when you grow up?
I don't really know.
Really? What do you like to do?
I like math and science a lot.
Oh, well then you're shoo-in for an engineer. I loved math growing up. It's like I have a minor in math for my undergrad degree, and math was one of my favorite subjects growing up.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty good at math. I'm an advanced.
You can't think it, you have to own it. You have to be like, I am pretty good at math. You got to own that.
Yeah, I got into Math Masters once.
See?
It's kind of like a state thing. Like,
yeah. That means you're pretty good at math.
Yeah.
Not, I think I'm pretty good. That means you are pretty good at math.
Yeah. Have you ever like worked on a space or a rocket before?
Yes. So I've had the honor of working on 2 projects that have gone into space. So back in, I think it was maybe 2012. Yeah, maybe 2012, they launched what they call the Exploratory Mission 1, and that's where they were testing the Orion capsule. And I got to work on welding the adapter that held the Orion capsule to the rocket that was going to launch it. So that was my first project. And then now my second project is I currently work on the Space Launch System, which is what we call SLS, or the Artemis project. And Artemis will go around the Earth and then figure 8 around the moon to test our capsule, to test our capsule and our rocket at that time. And I worked on, when you see the rocket itself, it's got like 2 boosters on the side, but right down the center of it is what we call core stage. And I got to work on putting the core stage together.
Oh, wow. That's really cool.
Yeah. And I work in a very noisy place, so I struggle a lot being able to hear in that space. But everybody's really good about making sure that they face me. This is before mask, and so I haven't gone back except part-time in the facility since then. And so now, but before, everybody was really good about making sure that I was a part of the conversation and that I felt included.
Do you weld the stuff on it, or you just like oversee it?
So I've actually got to push the button. But we have a contractor, and Boeing is the contractor that's putting the rocket together. So they actually do all of the work, and I just oversee it. But my dissertation is in welding, and I didn't even get to do that welding. I tested it, I did all of that, and I understand probably just as well as, there's only a handful of us that are actually doing this. And so I get to oversee it, but I understand the theory behind it, and I actually get to see it actually work. So, and it's not like arc welding. So when you think of welding, you think of like torch welding, right?
Yeah.
And it's not like that. It's like machine welding. And so with machine welding, it's like the metal is melted right below its melting point. And so it's kind of like really flowy. And so you bump the 2 pieces of metal up against each other. And then as the pin goes down the side of it in between the 2, it kind of melts what's right around it. And as it passes, it cools off, and then that metal is joined together. So it's really different than arc welding in it. And we have less flaws this way to machine weld.
Oh, what year did you join NASA or like started working for them?
So I graduated in 2011, and so 2 years previous to that, I worked as a student. So 2009, I started as a student, and then I graduated in 2011, and then I started full-time with them in 2012. So this is my 9th year with them as a civil servant, and 11 years total.
Cool.
Yeah.
What kind of classes did you have to take in college to like, be like NASA engineer?
So I'm an electrical engineer by trade, and I took just a ton of course, engineering classes, right? When you get to be in your 3rd and 4th year, but I also took a lot of math. Like all of my outside other courses were math courses, but just a ton of engineering classes, a ton of classes that cause you to have to logically think. And so you do a lot of logical thinking, a lot of analytical thinking as well. And so those kind of base classes. And then, like I said, heavy math classes. I only took two or three English classes, and then I took a technical writing class too. You have to take a technical writing class to get out. And then there's design classes. And I really enjoyed my design classes, like your senior design classes, because you have to design a project to get out as well. So that's kind of, when you look at undergrad, you don't really diverge from everybody else until you get to your junior and senior year. So your first 2 years, you would be able to take classes with your friends. And then after that, you would kind of diverge away from that. All right, so we're gonna get ready to wrap it up. I have loved talking to you. I really enjoyed this. I wasn't so sure about it at first because I was like, I don't know what we would talk about, but I think like our conversation was really cool, and I was really excited about meeting you, Henry. So if you wanted to tell parents, like one thing, right, that being deaf, hard of hearing, or whatever, like what would you want to tell them for them to know about their own kid?
Yeah, if you're going somewhere where there's like a deaf and hard of hearing camp, go like when they can first go.
Oh, that's a good one. So let them get the experience and let them meet other people to begin with that are like them.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, so for me, my one thing would be that, right? Help them find their tribe of people, their friends, like to begin with, because I don't know anybody else. Like that was in my group or in my friends. And so I still struggle, like in social settings, because I can get a little weird, a little, it gets a little awkward sometimes, having to tell people repeatedly that I'm hard of hearing and that I'm not going to be able to engage in the conversation, right? And so I think if I had had anything different when I was younger, it would have been to be able to hear how other people dealt with the awkwardness or those awkward situations. So even talking to you has been good for me because I can take and learn from you and then take some of that back to my own group of people. So we're going to say...
And that's a wrap.
That's a wrap, guys.